G'day trendsetters, how are you? It's getting a bit wintry here. That's the 2nd of June, which is the beginning of our calendar winter, and it's come on time this year. Usually we can get away with a half decent June and July, and the first couple of weeks of August are usually quite cold, but it's come early. But that's all right. It's a bit overcast on and off, and showers today. So I'm just out in between showers, and I wanted to show you about how I make compost. And I was trying to work out how I could fit it all in one video, and I can't. It's a little bit complicated if you want to get it right and make good compost, especially using these Gedye bins. So what I'm going to do is make it a series, and I'll start off with what goes in. This one's empty, these two are full, but I'll get to that. So I'm going to start with what I put in my compost to start with, which is basically whatever I can lay my hands on. I've got a bin full of kitchen waste just here, and that's banana peels, potato peels, onions, skins, oranges, lemons, whatever. All your packaging, like all your my beer. I like a cold beer on a hot day, or a cold beer on a cold day. It doesn't really matter. I like beer. But nowadays, it used to be plastic, but nowadays it nearly always comes in some form of cardboard. A lot of it's glossy. I don't mind that. My wife always says you can't put that in the compost, and I always say to her, it's my compost, I'll put in it what I like. So all the glossy paper. What else? We'll have a look and see. So these are 400 litre bins, so they take quite a bit of filling, and that one is a little 220 litre bin, which is more of a storage bin. So when the compost is ready, it goes in there, and I dig it out and take it around the garden. But what's in here? This is about a week's worth of stuff, and shopping docket receipts, paper towels, tea leaves, cabbage, onions. That's a bit of that glossy cardboard. Soap, Dove soap box, more cardboard, rice, beer. My wife drinks beer too, so it's not all mine. Pumpkin, old bills that have been paid, grapes that we didn't get to eat, a couple of mandarins there that went rotten on the end for some reason. Now, that has hardly added anything to it, but during the week, or possibly for the next video, I will grab a bag of stable horse manure, and I'll blend that through, mix it in there. Lawn clippings, I've got, probably mow my lawn one more time before winter really sets in and I don't get much of it. Unless we get a wet winter, then I'll get lots of clover, which is always good. Now, I just want to show you these two bins. They're full, but they will break down at least half each. It'll probably take 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks. What I'll do is I'll bring everything out of that bin into this bin until this one's full and that one's empty, and then I'll take everything out of this bin and put it into that bin. The reason I do that is I like to compost needs air to work quicker. This isn't exactly what you would call a hot compost system. It's not exactly a cold compost system. It's a bit of a warm compost system. It does generate a little bit of heat, but not enough to what you would call a hot composting system. But any heat you can generate in these bins will increase the rate of composition. And to aid that, I like to keep air in it, and the only way to keep air in it is to keep moving them from bin to bin until they've broken down suitably. to be stored as a compost. So once these two are about the size of that bin, then this one can come into here and I'll fill this one up again, and the whole system sort of keeps on jumping around until I've got what is compost. What else did I want you to know? Hang on, I've got notes here. If you're in the northern hemisphere, I think it's mainly North America. I don't know why you guys always say things funny, but if you don't know what I mean by compost, I think you call it compost, which I don't understand. But anyhow, so compost for you and compost for us. All right, the only other thing, apart from having or keeping your compost aerated, there's only two other things I think, especially in these Gedye bins, why compost will fail, and that is, one, it's too dry, or two, it's too wet. The best analogy I've heard for how much moisture or how wet you want your compost is if you've made a cup of tea and you've taken the tea bag out and squeezed the water out of it, and then what's left is a moist tea bag. That's about the moisture level you want for your compost. So sometimes if I fill these up rapidly, the whole thing doesn't get wet. And what I'll do is I'll let it sit for a week, then I'll dig the whole lot out, see what's wet and dry. If it's a bit dry, I'll moisten it up. If it's a bit wet, I'll leave it out until it dries, and then I'll put it all back in. So just always monitor your moisture levels in your compost bin. Once they're moist, they fairly well stay moist and you don't need to add water, but it's just getting that level right. And it's a lot of experimentation. I've been doing this, using these bins for 10, maybe 15 years. I'm not really sure. I did start with one, found out that didn't work all that well, and I got two, worked better, I got three, and I could probably use, if I had more material, I think I could use another two easily, and just keep going and going until I get to the end. Now these bins, obviously I recommend them, I use them, I think they're fantastic, they're portable, I don't have to build a frame or muck around, I don't have to move things between bin bays and all that sort of stuff. I do quite think they're quite fantastic. I've never really used any others, I've just used this Gedye. One of these bins here would have to be the oldest, 15 years old, so they're sturdy as well, a long-term investment. And like I say, this is probably the third posi I've had these bins in. I've had them in different places around the yard, so they're flexible. If you live in a rental, just pack up your compost and take it to your new rental place. What else did I want to say? Oh, I just want to show you. Where did I put that camera? Did it fall down? It did. Oh. So, I just want to show you these two. Push the record button. These, like I said, these two are half full, and I turned them on Wednesday, I think. Today's Sunday, so that was 4 days ago, and you'll see how much they've broken down just in that time. So they were full, they were mounded full, and we're now, if you look at that edge, they've dropped 6 inches. Let's see what this one's like. Yeah, it's dropped even further. That's 7-8 inches from the top. So what'll happen when this one here drops just that bit further, I'll keep on digging that, set the third one or the end one out into here until that's empty, and then it'll all go back in. But this is starting to look pretty good. It smells earthy. You know you're on the right track when compost smells like damp earth, or rainforest if you like, if you've ever been to a rainforest after rain and you get that lovely earthy smell. So that's it. I'll make a playlist, and week by week I'll show you what I add to this bin and then how I move it throughout. I hope that makes sense. If you've got any questions about compost and using Gedye bins, just leave it in the comments below. Or any tips, if you use a Gedye bin and you've got an idea that you think's pretty good, then let me know that as well. But that'll do for this one. It'll probably be a weekly or fortnightly playlist. But this bin here, once it's full and I start working it, it'll probably be towards like the end of summer before it makes into that bin. So it's not a super quick process, but it's convenient, it's neat, it's tidy, and like I said, portable. So I really do love the Gedye bins. But anyhow, if you found this interesting or useful in any way, I'd love it if you subscribe. Share the video amongst your friends, and like I said, leave a comment below and let me know what you think. And with a bit of luck, I'll catch you in the next video. And cheers, thanks for watching.